There are moments that don't announce themselves as life-changing. They arrive dressed as celebrations, wrapped in laughter, saturated with love, but they leave you forever altered. Winter had settled over everything that year. Quiet, patient, waiting. And I was waiting too, though I didn't quite understand for what. The night before my best friend's wedding was the first time the world saw her. Saw me. Fully. Without apology. Without explanation. Just present. But by morning, I would be expected to disappear again. This is the story of the bridal shower that changed everything. The night I stopped hiding. The winter I discovered her. My name is Alex. I was 23 that winter, freshly graduated from college with a degree I barely remembered earning, and a job that felt like playing dress-up in someone else's life. People said I was different, not in a way that invited confrontation, more like a curiosity they couldn't quite place. My voice carried a softness that didn't match my frame. My posture was careful, measured, never quite claiming the space I occupied. I moved through the world the way you might walk through a museum, aware that everything around you is beautiful and fragile, and you don't quite belong touching it. But around women, something shifted. The careful guardedness fell away. My laugh came easier. My thoughts flowed without editing. I felt lighter, more real. There was no conflict with masculinity in me, no anger, no rejection, just an absence, like trying to wear a coat that technically fits but never quite feels like yours. It was during college that I found my tribe, the cheerleading squad. 12 women who somehow made space for me without ever making it a thing. They didn't question why I was there or what it meant. They just included me. Practice became my sanctuary, the shared energy, the physical closeness, the trust required to catch someone mid-flight. All of it felt like coming home to a place I'd never actually lived. And at the center of it all was Megan. Same age as me. Best friend since freshman orientation when she'd caught me staring at the dance team tryouts with a longing I couldn't name. She was the kind of confidant that made everyone around her feel braver, the natural leader who never had to announce it. She was the only one who truly saw me. Not the performance, not the careful presentation, but the me underneath, the one I was still learning to meet. There was a night during senior year, a night that had planted something in me that never quite went dormant. It was late, past midnight, in Megan's dorm room. The rest of the floor had gone quiet. Most people were at some off-campus party we'd both decided to skip. She'd been doing her makeup for an event the next day, practicing a new eyeshadow technique she'd learned from YouTube. I was sitting on her bed, supposedly studying, but really just watching her transform in the mirror. "Want me to try it on you?" she'd asked casually, like she was offering to share her fries. My heart had stopped, then started again, faster. I remember laughing, that nervous laugh that's really just fear wearing a smile. "Seriously? Why not? You've got better bone structure than half the squad anyway." She'd locked the door. Not dramatically, just practically. And then she'd guided me to her desk chair, spun me toward the mirror, and begun. I'd closed my eyes for most of it. Not out of shame, but because feeling it was more important than seeing it. The cool cream gliding across my eyelids. The gentle tug of the liner. The feather-soft brush of powder against my cheeks. When she'd finally finished and stepped back, she'd said, "Okay, open." The person looking back at me in that mirror wasn't a stranger. That was the part that terrified me most. I recognized her. Like meeting someone you'd been writing letters to for years but had never actually seen. Megan had pulled out a wig from her closet, a costume piece from some themed party. And before I could protest, she'd settled it onto my head, tucking and adjusting until it framed my face perfectly. We'd raided her closet after that, a soft sweater, fitted jeans, nothing dramatic. But enough. For 2 hours I existed as her. Fully, completely, without explanation. And when the night ended, when I'd washed my face and returned the borrowed clothes and walked back to my own dorm, the makeup was gone, but the need wasn't. I didn't know then that one day there would be no locked door, no washing it away when morning came. 2 years after graduation, Megan called me on a Tuesday afternoon. "I'm engaged," she'd said, breathless with joy. I'd screamed, literally screamed into the phone with happiness that was entirely genuine and not at all complicated by the envy I felt. Not for her fiancé, but for the life she was stepping into. The certainty, the public celebration of exactly who she was. "I want you at the wedding," she'd continued. "Obviously. But also, I'm having a bridal shower the night before. Just the old squad and a few family members. Girls' night. All of us in matching robes, champagne, the whole thing." I'd felt my stomach drop and soar simultaneously. "And I want you there, Alex. Not as a guest, as one of us. The way you always were." There was a pause, a held breath. "It'll be safe," she'd added quietly, reading my silence. "I promise. No judgment. Just us." The invitation sat on my counter for 3 days. Champagne-colored cardstock with gold lettering. "You're invited to celebrate the bride-to-be." I'd stare at it every morning while making coffee, every evening while reheating leftovers. Excitement and terror are close cousins. They live in the same part of your chest, create the same rapid heartbeat, the same shallow breathing. I wanted it so badly it frightened me. Not just the makeover, not just the robe and the makeup, but the being seen, the being included, the stepping into a room as her and having no one demand an explanation. But consequences don't announce themselves. They wait in the margins of beautiful moments, patient and inevitable. I said yes before I gave myself time to be afraid. The bridal shower was at Megan's family home, a sprawling 2-story house on the edge of town where winter seemed to press in closer, making the warm glow from the windows look almost defiant. I arrived at 7 p.m., just as the sun was finishing its retreat and the sky had turned that particular shade of blue-gray that makes everything feel hushed and significant. The decorations weren't just pretty, they were intentional. White lights strung across the ceiling like captured stars, flowers in soft pinks and creams arranged in vintage vases, champagne chilling in silver buckets, everything designed to make you feel elegant just by proximity. And the robes, God, the robes! They were hanging on a rack near the entrance, 12 of them, all identical. Champagne blush satin that caught the light like liquid gold, long flowing sleeves. A gentle tie at the waist, each one personalized with embroidered names in delicate script. I saw mine before anyone said anything. Alex. Not Alexander, not a nickname, just Alex. In gold thread, like I'd always belonged there. Megan appeared beside me, already wearing hers, looking like some kind of bridal goddess. "What do you think?" she asked, though her smile said she already knew. "It's beautiful," I managed. "It's yours," she corrected. "Just like everyone else's." The squad was there. Most of them, anyway. Faces I hadn't seen in months, some in over a year. Life had scattered us the way life does after college. But here, in this moment, with champagne being poured and laughter already rising, it felt like no time had passed at all. Except for one thing. They were all already transformed. Hair styled. Makeup perfect. Robes cinched at their waists, looking effortlessly beautiful in that way that actually requires tremendous effort, but pretends it doesn't. And I was still just Alex, in jeans and a sweater. The before picture in a room full of after. I felt honored. I felt exposed. I felt terrifyingly, exhilaratingly alive. This wasn't a costume, I realized. This was permission. We'd been there for maybe 20 minutes. Champagne had been distributed. Conversation was flowing. Someone had put on a playlist of songs from our college years, the kind that make you simultaneously nostalgic and grateful you're no longer 20. I was standing near the fireplace, trying to look relaxed, when Megan clinked her glass for attention. The room quieted instantly. Megan had that effect. "Okay, everyone," she began, smiling in that way that meant something was about to happen. "Before we start the games and the gift opening and all that, there's something I want to do." My heart started beating faster. I didn't know why yet. Alex has been part of this squad since day one. Megan caught herself, smiled wider. "They have always been one of us, and tonight I want that to be completely visible." She turned to face me directly. "So please, everyone, help me style Alex. We need her in our bridal robe. Full squad representation." Silence. Not the comfortable kind. The kind where oxygen seems to leave the room temporarily while everyone's brain catches up to what's happening. I couldn't breathe. Couldn't move. My face was burning, not from shame, but from the sheer weight of being seen. Someone's glass paused halfway to their lips. Someone else blinked slowly, processing. And then, no one laughed. Not one person. Megan took my hand. It was such a simple gesture, but it grounded me. Reminded me I wasn't alone in this. That I'd been invited into this moment, not ambushed by it. She led me to the vanity they'd set up in the corner, a proper setup with ring lights and a mirror surrounded by makeup brushes and palettes that looked professional enough to be intimidating. "Sit," she instructed gently, and I did. The chair was cold against the back of my legs, a sharp, grounding sensation. Real. This was real. 2 other squad members joined us. Sarah, who'd always been the makeup expert, and Jessica, who had a gift for hair that bordered on architectural. They didn't ask if I was sure. Didn't make a show of it. They just began. Sarah's fingers were warm against my face as she applied primer. A cool, smooth cream that felt like possibility spreading across my skin. She worked methodically, explaining nothing, which somehow made it feel more normal. Like this was just what we did, like I'd done this 100 times before. The foundation came next. I felt the brush moving across my forehead, down my nose, along my jawline. Each stroke seemed to dissolve a layer of fear I'd been carrying, not erasing me, revealing me. "Close your eyes," Sarah murmured, and I obeyed. The eyeshadow brush was impossibly soft. It grazed my eyelids with a gentleness that made my chest ache. I'd forgotten how intimate this was, how much trust it required to let someone this close, to keep your eyes closed while they reshaped you. I could hear the party continuing around us, laughter, music, the clink of glasses, but it felt distant, like we existed in a bubble, slightly removed from time. The mascara wand came next. "Look up," Jessica instructed, and I did, feeling the slight tug as she coated my lashes. Now, down. The wand swept underneath. Perfect. Blush, highlighter, lip liner. Each application another layer of armor. Another piece of recognition. "Okay," Jessica said finally. "Time for hair." I felt her fingers combing through what I had. Short, practical, unremarkable. And then the weight of the wig being lowered onto my head. It was heavier than I remembered from that night in Megan's dorm room. More substantial. She adjusted it, tucking, pinning, smoothing, until it felt secure. Natural. Long hair. Dark. Falling past my shoulders. I could feel it brushing against my neck, my collarbones. Familiar in a way that should have been impossible. "Stand up," Megan said, appearing with my robe. I stood, and she held it open for me. An invitation. I slipped my arms through the sleeves, that cool satin sliding against my skin, impossibly smooth. Megan brought it around my body, the fabric whispering as it settled. She tied the waist sash. Not tight, just perfectly. The robe hugged me in all the right ways, flowed where it should flow, made me feel elegant in a way I'd never felt before. "Turn around," Sarah said softly. "Look." I turned toward the mirror, and there she was. Not a stranger, not a costume, not a performance, just her, me, us. The person I'd been writing letters to for years. The one I'd met briefly in Megan's dorm room and then locked away because the world didn't seem to have space for her. My reflection looked back at me with eyes that seemed simultaneously shocked and knowing. The makeup was perfect, natural, but enhanced. The wig framed my face like it had been designed specifically for me. The robe caught the light, made me look soft and strong at the same time. I wasn't pretending. I was remembering what it felt like to look in a mirror and recognize yourself. To see your outside finally match your inside. To exist without translation. Tears were forming, and I blinked them back because crying would ruin the makeup, and I wasn't ready to ruin this. Not yet. "You're beautiful," Megan whispered beside me. And for the first time in my life, I believed it. Walking back into that bridal shower felt like stepping onto a stage. Except there was no script. No prepared lines. Just me in a champagne blush robe with makeup and hair and a heart beating so loud I was certain everyone could hear it. The room went quiet again, but this time the silence felt different, softer. And then someone smiled. Then another. Then all of them. "Oh my God, you look amazing," someone said. "That color is perfect on you," said another. "Can you teach me how to tie my robe like that? Mine keeps coming loose." Champagne glasses were raised. Not in mockery. Not in tolerance. In celebration. Someone handed me a glass, and I took it with shaking hands. "To the bride," someone toasted. "To the squad," Megan added, looking directly at me. "To the squad," we all echoed. And just like that, I was part of it. Not as a guest. Not as an exception. Just as one of the girls celebrating their friend's upcoming wedding in matching robes with champagne and laughter and absolutely zero explanation required. We played the games. I participated in the bridal trivia, got half the answers wrong, laughed when someone else got them all wrong. We opened gifts, kitchen gadgets and lingerie, and framed photos that made Megan cry happy tears. The playlist shifted to songs that demanded dancing, and we danced. Right there in the living room, robes swirling, hair flying, completely unself-conscious. For 3 hours, I existed without apology. For 3 hours, I wasn't translating myself for anyone's comfort. For 3 hours, I was just there, fully, completely. This is what safety feels like, I realized. This warm, this easy, this unburdened. But nights end. They always do. One by one, guests began to leave. Hugs, promises to see each other at the wedding tomorrow. car doors closing, taillights disappearing down the driveway. Megan's mother started cleaning up, collecting glasses, folding chairs, dimming the lights that had made everything look so magical. I stood in front of the vanity again, but this time alone. The makeup remover felt cold against my skin as I wiped away the foundation, the eyeshadow, the carefully applied layers that had made me feel seen. Each motion was heavier than the last. I removed the wig carefully, setting it on the stand where it suddenly looked lifeless. Just hair, just a costume piece. I untied the robe, let it slip from my shoulders, folded it carefully. My name, Alex, still embroidered in gold thread. Still real, still mine. But I was changing back now. Jeans, sweater, the before picture returning. Winter pressed against the windows. The quiet that had felt anticipatory earlier now felt concluding. Reality was returning, the way it always does. Patient, inevitable. Tomorrow was Megan's wedding. Tomorrow there would be expectations, a dress code, defined roles. Family who'd never seen me in a robe wouldn't understand if they had. Tomorrow I would be expected to be Alex again, the version everyone knew, the one who fit into the spaces provided without question. But something had shifted tonight, something that couldn't be completely put away with the makeup and the wig and the robe. Because I'd seen her, the world had seen her, and more importantly, I'd felt what it was like to exist without explanation, without apology, without the exhausting labor of translation. Was this just one night? A beautiful, singular exception in a life that would continue as before? Or was this the beginning of something I couldn't yet name, but desperately needed to become? I didn't have the answer as I drove home that night, winter closing in around my car, my reflection in the rearview mirror still showing traces of who I'd been hours before. But I knew this. Some selves don't disappear when the night ends. They wait. If you've ever met yourself in secret, if you've ever looked in a mirror and finally recognized who was looking back, if you've ever had to fold away the person you are and return to the person you're expected to be, you're not alone. This is only part of the story. Tomorrow comes the wedding, and with it, decisions I wasn't ready to make. Part 2 is coming. Subscribe so you don't miss what happens when the sun rises and reality returns. And if this resonated with you, leave a comment. Tell me about the moment you met yourself. Tell me about the night that changed everything. Because your story matters too.
The Gender Diary exists to light that path with shared stories. Whether you found connection in this narrative, you're on your own journey of gender exploration, or you're here seeking understanding, your subscription fuels our mission. Every subscriber empowers us to keep illuminating these authentic experiences for our community. Kindly drop a comment below. Your voice adds to the tapestry of experiences that makes this space meaningful. Until our next story unfolds.